And now it's my great pleasure to introduce to the stage Mark Fitzgerald. Mark was in our first intake of the Rent to Rent Kickstarter mentorship, and he was always super, super helpful throughout. What I love about Mark's story is it goes off at a bit of a tangent where Rent to Rent really helped him to get his dream house. He's built up his Rent to Rent portfolio. He's gone much further in property. He's now host of the PIN Mastermind and an all-around great guy. So welcome to the stage, Mark Fitzgerald.
Great, thank you.
Great, thanks, Mark.
Wow, that was some intro. Thank you very much. Now, first and foremost, we've got to give a round of applause to Stephanie and Nikki for this fantastic event. It's great to be here. It's great to be invited to the stage here to share with you a bit of a journey. I'm going to share with you my journey, if you like. And hopefully I've got a few tips and tricks that can help you along the way as well. Who here is feeling inspired? Who here is feeling motivated? And who's glad that they came? That's what it's all about. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people, putting yourself in the right places to make things happen. I go back to this picture. What was that man thinking? That was in 2008. That is the smartest you will ever see my family in one place. That was at our brother-in-law's wedding. And I'm thinking at that time, how can I get out of the 9 to 5? I had a very, very demanding job, a corporate job, and I was miserable. And I was thinking, I need to start something. Maybe I need to win the lottery. Maybe I need to be headhunted by somebody else. All the things that were out of my control. Little did I know that actually to start and do something, I needed to control my own mindset and get out of my own way. So, a little bit about me. Who am I? First and foremost, it's all about family for me. It's all about my two sons, Jack and Lewis, and inspiring them to be able to go out there and do what it is that they want to do. Because at the end of the day, I was trapped in a rat race, and I don't want anybody else to be like that. There are so many opportunities out there. So many opportunities that pass us by, and then we turn around and somebody behind us has grabbed that opportunity and taken it, and we say, oh, they're lucky. It fell in line for them. No, they just knew what they wanted to do, what they wanted to achieve, and they went out there and they achieved it. So as I say, I've been married for 19 years. My poor wife has had to put up with me for 19 years, but she is the rock and foundation of my life, and I wouldn't be stood here today if it wasn't for her love and support. I have two sons, as I say. Thank you. I have two sons, Jack and Lewis, and they are my why. They are my reason why I will not fail. When I got started in Rent to Rent, yes, it was for financial gain, but more than that, it was time freedom to be able to get back the time that I was missing with my kids. 16 years in the corporate world, worked my way off the shop floor up to senior management level, and for 5 of those years, I was spinning my wheels. I was basically, as I say, trying to get out of it, but I didn't know how. Never felt fulfilled, never felt satisfied. And as I say, I was lost for a lot of those times. I even jumped off of Babadad Mountain in Turkey, paraglided, and didn't feel a thing. I wanted to do it to see if I would get scared. I really didn't have emotions. I was flat, and I needed to change my life. So in 2019, I decided to do something about it. And I started looking into property. I Googled how to make money in property, and boom, this whole world opened up to me. Purchase lease options, rent to rent, creative strategies that, Stephanie and Nikki have talked about today. And it was like, my God, I didn't even know this existed. It can't be legit. It has to be a scam. But I started then to go out and network with people, started following people, started seeing what could be done. And you know what? By actually talking to people that were already doing these strategies, I thought to myself, hell, I can do that. If they can do it, I can do it. So that's really where I took the first steps then to go and get educated so that I could do it in the right manner. In 2019, I built a rent-to-rent business. In, 12 months, I got 9 deals, which for me was very good. Obviously, that tripled my corporate wage. Took me 4 months to get my first deal. Now, some people will say, well, that's quite quick. Some people will say, well, what were you messing about at? That took your time, didn't you? For me, it felt like an eternity because I'd taken voluntary redundancy that year as well. So I decided to burn the boats, if you like. I decided to go out there and try and do this and make sure that this rent-to-rent business worked for me. Now, if it didn't work for me, I would have just gone and got a part-time job. But I was never going to stop. I was never going to quit. And I had the full backing and support of my family. So by the end of 2019, we all know what happened with the good old COVID. And of course, the government came out, didn't they? And they said, people don't have to pay rent. And of course, all landlords can have mortgage holidays. Now, I tell you what, when you own a rent-to-rent business, that's not music to your ears. We're relying on those rents. Now, luckily, because I was in the right environment, because I had help from people, and I was working with the likes of Stephanie and Nikki as well, and we were all in it together, we all got through it together. So by talking to each other, by talking to the tenants, explaining things, we were able to survive that. But then in 2020, during the COVID, I decided to build a lettings business, and I built that up to 131 units in 18 months. Now, thank you. Not so good is I just built myself another job. But I did learn how to put teams and systems in place, and I sold my shares in that. I still have my rent-to-rent portfolio, and I always will have my rent-to-rent portfolio at the end of the day because it's my bread and butter, and it allows me and frees me up to do the things that I love. I love learning. I'm always learning. I now spend over £20,000 each year on a budget that I put together for self-development. But when I started, I didn't have that. When I started that, I didn't want to spend anything on my own development. I was my biggest stumbling block and holding myself back. But in 2019, February, as Stephanie says, I joined the Rent to Rent Kickstarter. Okay, it was their foundation sort of intake, if you like. So we were the special ones. No offense to anybody else there, but no, I'm only kidding. But yeah, so we got stuck in. That was actually the end of 2019. They put on a lovely Christmas do, and we went down and had a party night, didn't we? I'm still getting over the hangover on that one, I tell you. And it was all about surrounding yourself. I went to Wales. I saw what the girls were doing with their properties and things. Stephanie even came to sunny old Barnsley and walked around an HMO or two of mine. And it was really, really good. And also now I still surround myself. I'm still fortunate enough through Rent to Rent, through getting time freedom, through building up my business to be able to rub shoulders with, other people that inspire, Rob Moore, Dan Hill, Walter Pontes, Michelle Kearns, Simon Zicci. I've won awards for my property investing. I won the Mastermind 27 program using the Rent to Rent strategy. And also I was a finalist on the Property Entrepreneur for a Business Strategy of the Year as well. And I don't say any of this, and I'll just go through a bit of public speaking. As you can tell, I probably like the sound of my own voice. And I've also featured in YPM magazine and a 5-page spread there. And I'll just go back and say, I'm not telling this to brag. I'm not saying any of this to say, woohoo, look at me. Well, maybe I am a little bit. All I'm doing is just saying I've been sat where you're sat. I've watched people like this be on stage and thought, it's all right for them. It'll never happen for me. And it's all about that. It's all about the mindset. If you want to move yourself in any direction, you can. And I genuinely believe that. As Stephanie says, I've done purchase lease options now. I've done 2 on the rent-to-rent deals that I've got, so on HMOs, and I've done 1 on my own dream home. So we actually moved into my own dream home last year. Thank you for the whoop. And it was something that I couldn't afford at the time because I just bought 2 properties, building up my own portfolio. I currently have 16 HMOs, 8 serviced accommodations, and I have 2 properties that I do serviced accommodation on that are in my own portfolio. And that is from Rent to Rent. Okay? Now, one thing I will say, it's not easy. Okay, I'm not going to stand there and say that it's easy. Anybody can do it, but you have to put the work in. I have a podcast that I have a couple of episodes out each week where I try and help people. I've had the lovely Stephanie on the podcast as well, and it's generally just trying to give back to people to help and support them. But why I started in Rent to Rent and why I wanted to do it was realistically to get out of the 9-to-5. I'm sure there's a lot of us that have been in the jobs that we just maybe don't. Like Nikki was saying, some people do like their jobs and they're just crazy, them people, but they're few and far between, I think. Because you're always out there, you're always making somebody else rich. So it really is a case of getting out of the 9-to-5. I wanted to start a property business for myself, something that could give me the time freedom to pick my kids up to and from school, be able to go to their plays, be able to go to their sports days, because I missed it all. I was on that hamster wheel. I was just chasing the next pay rise, trying to do my best to make sure that I didn't get sacked. and I missed everything. And I really, really regret that. Those are the times you cannot get back. So I wish I'd done this so much sooner. And this is the one thing that I wanted to show everybody, because we all see this. I can stand there now and I can go, woohoo, look at me, look at this. This is what you can achieve. But it's this. This is the realistic target sheet. Look, it's a sacrifice. It's the habits. It's the hard work. It's the blood, sweat, and tears, I always say, and plenty of tears. But if you know what you're supposed to be doing, if you know how you're supposed to be doing it, it makes it so much easier. And putting yourself in a community, a like-minded community that support each other, mean that any problems, any issues you have, you will always be able to push forward and you will always be able to overcome them. So my first deals were in 2019. I got 2 properties from one landlord. Then the next landlord gave me 1. The next landlord gave me 3. So I only needed to find 3 landlords, and that doubled my income. Unbelievably. And so you think to yourself, we asked the question earlier, how many properties do you need? You might only need to find 1 landlord to have all of those properties, or 2. You've got to find 2 or 3 people to maybe get you out of your job. That's the way you want to look at things. Break things down. Keep it simple. I always try and keep it simple. Makes life easy for me. So I've always also never paid for a refurbishment, and I've never paid for a deposit on any of the deals that I've done, and they've all been good properties. And the reason is I didn't have a great deal of money. But as was said before, you can, of course, finance it in all sort of creative ways. But I knew what I wanted to achieve. I knew how I wanted to put my business out there. And it was really all about making sure that they were in good condition. And these are the properties as I've received them from the landlords. So I was always looking for the big ones. So this was 3 properties from one landlord. I offered him the gross rent was £2,700 on this. I offered him £1,260, and he was over the moon and said yes. So what did I do wrong? Offered too much, didn't I? I should have gone any lower. But at the end of the day, it was a good deal for him. As I say, the rent's £2,700. The utilities and everything's around £700. And I make from those 3 properties just over £2,000 per calendar month. This can really build up quickly, particularly when you're working with the landlords. All that landlord wanted was peace of mind. They wanted their property looked after. So I'm going to shoot through these quickly because I don't want to eat into anybody else's time. But these are 5 sort of rules that you really need when you're property investing, if you ask me. And one of them is to be passionate about what you do. You don't necessarily have to love it, but have a passion for it. Why? Because when it's hard, it'll stop you from stopping. You only fail when you stop, so you've got to keep going. But if you've got a passion about it and a drive about it, then when you get the setbacks, and trust me, you're going to get no's. I spoke to about 14 different landlords. I probably put in about 8 different offers before I actually got my deal over the line. So just be prepared that it is a numbers game and you are going to have to fight for it. Take action. Have a vision. Have some goals. Have a big vision. So when you think how many properties do you want? When I started, it was 3 properties. Okay. And then I got 2 properties off of one landlord. I thought I better put that up to 5. Then I got 6 properties. Then after 3 landlords, I'll put it to 10. I got 9 properties then. So all of a sudden I had a big target. I wish I'd just said 10 from the beginning. I was a little bit gutted I didn't hit 10, if I'm quite honest with you. But have that vision. So think how many properties. I need 5. A lot of people were saying 5. Think 10. And then if you only get halfway, you've done it, haven't you? But also then your goals. All you've got to do is take that 10, break them down into bite-sized chunks, yeah? And then each day set a goal that you can achieve. So if you need to call 10 agents is what we do is we set ourselves out a silly goal, don't we? I'm going to call 10 agents today. And then we call 2, and that's the end of it. And then we've let ourselves down, haven't we? Set a target that's manageable. I'm going to call 2 agents today. If you call 3, even better. But your subconscious will start seeing you getting results. You will start seeing yourself winning day after day after day, and it's contagious. Then you can start setting higher goals and pushing yourself. But at the beginning, just set goals that you can achieve. Make sure it's a hell yes or a hell no. Stephanie and Nikki asked me to talk here. Hell yes, I'm all in. I'm a people pleaser, so I'm the sort of guy that can't say no. But now I have to know, if I'm not going to do something, I will say no to it. And no for me is the most honest word in the English dictionary because you know where you stand. So it's either a hell yes, I'm all in, it moves the boats forward, or I'm not doing it at all, and I'll just move on. Be consistent and persistent in your approach. Consistency will get you there. Persistency with the right stuff will make you a winner. So make sure that you are doing the right actions and being consistent and persistent with them. And just remember, we are going to have problems. So no problems, only solutions. I drive my team mad with this. I have a team of 5 people, 3 virtual assistants, a viewings lady and a handyman who does viewings as well. They basically run my operations now, which give me more time freedom to go and do developments, to go and do the things that I enjoy, i.e. speaking to you lot. And we will always have problems, but just look at them and solve them as soon as you can. So top tips, hey, get educated. Any which way you can. The money you spend on yourself can never be taken away from you. Once you've got the knowledge, you can never lose it. And that's the one thing that I took so long to try and work it out and find out for myself. So I'll wrap this one up. Take action every day. You've all heard the saying, take massive action. I don't even know what that is. Just take some sort of action day in and day out of the right things. Do something to help you achieve your goals. As little as 1 hour a week of focused, dedicated action will get you the results that you need. And of course, build yourself a 90-day plan, set yourself some targets, set yourself some goals, and push yourself to the next level. It all starts and stops with you. And this is one thing that I like to say to everybody is, how badly do you want it? Do you want it badly enough? Are you scared to get a deal? We can all stand there or sit there and we can say, I want to get a deal, I want to get 5 deals. When push comes to shove and you put an offer to a landlord and they say no, do you just say, oh, that's not going to work then, is it? Or do you think, right, hang on a minute, why not? Why is that not going to work for you? What can we do to make this deal happen? Go above and beyond what anybody else will do. You go and do a viewing. 5 minutes after that viewing, if you've got an email or a phone number, you call them or you send them an email or whatever, and you send it out there and you say, thank you ever so much for seeing me and things like that. Go above and beyond. Build up the know, like, and trust. When times are hard, you've got to keep going. And it always start with the end in mind. And you only fail when you stop trying, so don't stop trying. And that's realistically all you have to do to build the property business that you desire. I thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was a great presentation. I love the energy you brought to the stage, and I just love the message, just take consistent action. So I'd love it if you could give your tip to people today, apart from you've already given us one. Give us another one before you leave us today.
So, I mean, basically for me, I was my own biggest stumbling block. 16 years I held myself back. Wish I'd started 20 years earlier. I know we've had that conversation ourselves before. Listen, it's not a scam. If you're going to be consistent and persistent and take action in what you're going to do, get out of your own way and make sure that you make it happen.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Mark. It's been great. Thank you.